Right, we're recording again, there we go. This is my hometown area. I remember back in the 70s a bumblebee hit me and I looked down and I ended up in the ditch with a motorbike. Not a good place to be. Anyway, this is the road to Galloway. G-A-L-L-O-W-A-Y. Of course, in that all my life there's been changes. I actually had quite a bit on the Galloway station that I bought. And there's a little one-way bridge. There used to be a wooden one beside it. There's that little creek that we used to call here. So big was the river. It went from here to those other trees away in the flood, and there was a 12-foot deep hole just in front of these trees here. So that little passive creek can be as big as the creek that comes down past the Alexander called the Molyneux, or the Clutha as people call it. This was about 3 or 4 feet underwater, this road. About here somewhere the flood waters come out the other side. Now I'm not going to go up the hill at the moment, I'm going to go the other way into a lovely wee area. Right, Galloway Road. This of course is where that railway crossing was that I got photographed on the trolley. And that was the railway line that way. And that's the railway line that way. A mile straight. Oh, by the way, this is Burt Munro's track. This is the world's fastest Indian, should I say. The world's slowest Kiwi, because he blew a gearbox the year before and he had to push his bike back to the starting line. Little bits of gearbox went everywhere. That's the trouble when you miss a gear and you have no clutch. As he didn't have a clutch, he was just slipping the gears and he slipped the wrong one and she went boom. These things do happen though. These things do happen. As you can tell, it's a big, long, straight, flat piece of road. Well, moderately flat. Good enough for motorbikes. Good enough for motorbikes. Growing up, there was none of these houses around here. None of them. Oh, sorry, there was one away over there and one away over there. Now that big shed up in front of you there hides what used to be our house. I'll just zoom in there. That big shed hides what used to be our house. Now that's the redwood tree with the top lopped off it. My cousin and I broke the top of that off when I was about 7 or 8. Now there's a few other ones down there that's got their top still on them. But that's the shed in behind my house where I grew up. There's the old place. Not much of the old place now. Now you will remember this though. That's my shed. That's my station. I bought that for $25. The whole station, not just that ladies' waiting room. I bought the whole station, goods section and all, for $25. It was 25 foot long, so it was $1 a foot. I kept it for, was it 23, 26 years? And then when we shifted, the local community wanted me to give it back. What? I bought it. I saved it from being scrapped. Everything else was bulldozed into a hole. I looked after it, I painted it, I considered that was worth a bit of money, so I sold it back to them for $500. They didn't want to pay me, but they had to, because I said, well, it's mine. And I can either shift it or burn it. And they said, no, you can't. And I said, well, yes, I can, because it's not the whole building. And it was shifted before it was ever had a heritage status on it. It's never had a heritage status. And as far as I'm concerned, it's mine. I bought it for it. Anyway, that's the road up to the claims. That's where the bad boys went in and blew up their fuel dump. I'll just get in here and get that power pole out of the way, because that shouldn't be there. It's not supposed to be there, right? I just nose it in there, and I'll long run this, zoom it in there again. Right, now that's the gully that the young fellas took their battle truck up and parked it in there and had the big explosion of the fuel dump. Now you notice there's a big tin shed over there. That's the great little box company, or the wooden box company. Yeah, the wooden box company it's called now. They make these fancy little wee wooden boxes. But that's the sluicings. The whole top of the hill was sluiced out, and it was gold in there. And they used a sluicing gun and sluiced the hill entirely away, chasing the gold, which was good. Except that one of the young fellas that was come out with us on motorbikes in the 70s, he drove right across the top of that, looking for the top of the hill. 2 o'clock in the morning, he drove off the side of that hill and slipped the bike down into the scree at the bottom. The scree actually scratched the seat. We saw scratch marks with the gravel on the seat, and you know, he was still up on the pegs riding it, and he didn't realise that he'd gone over a cliff. He thought he'd just hit a big gravel heap. He thought he'd pulled a wheelie and then hit a big gravel heap. And he laughed his head off until we showed him the next day. The next day he went as white as a sheet and cussed us for being silly buggers, and he's never been back out with us since. And I could never figure out why, until I sort of looked at it and thought, well, yeah, they were sort of big cliffs he went off the top of, you know, 30, 40, 50, 60 foot cliffs. Yeah. It was only a motorbike, who cares? It was a borrowed one too, wasn't even his. But there you go, there's where they went in and went up there. And my home where I was born is another 8 miles up that road. But we're not going there today, too far. Right, Shannon Road we've just gone past. Now, coming down here a bit, I'll take you to the start line. Down here was the start line of the what's his handle, Burt Munro. Right, that's the willow tree. That's the willow tree we all camped underneath. Now, all off the side of here. She's sweet, plenty of room. Now, it was directly opposite that. There's a couple of marks in the road. See those marks in the road down there? Just mark the road down there. There's 3 marks in the road. They were the starting marks for the quarter mile, the standing quarter mile for Vincent Motorcycle Club's standing quarter mile. Zoom out of that if hopefully I've pushed the right button. Hopefully I'm still recording. I can't tell. Yeah, the little button's still going.